You know the feeling, right? You type a question into that simple little box, you hit enter, and boom! In seconds, a coherent, creative, and usually spot-on response just materializes out of thin air. It honestly feels like straight-up magic.
And look, it's a totally normal reaction to feel like it gets you, like it understands what you're asking. It really does seem like there's a little conscious mind on the other end typing furiously just for you.
Okay, so let's just rip the bandit off right now, because here is the wild, slightly uncomfortable truth. ChatGPT doesn't understand a single thing it says. It has no concept of what a poem is, or a toaster, or even that it's a computer program. Nothing.
So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If there's no thinking, no understanding, then what in the world is actually happening behind that curtain? Well, in this explainer, we're going to pop the hood and look at the engine, because honestly, the reality is way more impressive than the magic trick.
To really get how ChatGPT works, we've got to go back to the beginning. Long before it could ever chat with anyone, it had to do one thing. It had to read. And I mean, it had to read a lot. I want you to imagine forcing someone to read everything in the world's biggest library, then add the entire internet on top of that. That's basically what happened. OpenAI fed just unbelievable amounts of text into this system. The good, the bad, and yeah, the very, very weird. But, and this is the most important part of this whole section, the AI wasn't reading to learn facts. It wasn't memorizing that Paris is the capital of France. No. It was reading to learn the statistical patterns of our language. It learned how words relate to each other, that the word king is often statistically close to the word queen. It absorbed the entire blueprint of how we humans talk and write. And that massive pre-trained brain, that's what we call an LLM, or a large language model. It's the foundation, the library of patterns that makes everything else possible. Okay, Act 2. So it's absorbed all these patterns, now what? How does it actually use them to write something? Well, believe it or not, the core idea is something you use literally every single day on your phone. At its very heart, ChatGPT is just incredibly, unbelievably sophisticated autocomplete. You know, your phone looks at the last couple words you typed and suggests the next one. Well, ChatGPT does the exact same thing, but instead of a tiny dictionary, it has the internet. And instead of the last two words, it's looking at your entire conversation. It's autocomplete on a galactic scale. Now, this is the part that kind of breaks your brain a little. It doesn't plan sentences. It doesn't think, I'm going to write a paragraph about dolphins. At every single step, it looks at all the text so far and asks one simple question. Based on all the patterns I've learned, what is the most statistically probable next piece of a word to put here? That's it. Coherent, creative essays emerge from just repeating that one simple task over and over and over again. It's this constant, incredibly fast loop. It generates one piece, adds that to the conversation, and then immediately reevaluates everything to figure out the next piece and then the next, all happening thousands of times every second. And these little pieces, by the way, have a name. We call them tokens. They're the building blocks. Sometimes a token is a full word like and or the, but other times it might just be a syllable like ing or even just a comma. And this is the secret sauce that makes it feel so coherent. Your phone's autocomplete, it forgets what you said 3 words ago. But ChatGPT has this massive context window. It can remember what you said paragraphs ago, which helps it choose the next token in a way that makes sense for the whole conversation. Okay, but wait a second. There's a huge glaring problem with everything we've just said. If the AI is just predicting the next word based on the raw, unfiltered internet, its responses would be an absolute train wreck. That's where the third and final act comes in, the part that makes it actually useful. I mean, let's be real. The internet is a wild place. It is full of misinformation, toxicity, conspiracy theories, just plain garbage. So if the AI learned from all of that, why isn't it just a horrible, toxic troll? The answer is this final, absolutely critical step in the process. It's called reinforcement learning from human feedback, or RLHF. It's a fancy term, but the idea is actually pretty simple. Think of it like training a puppy. After the AI read the internet, OpenAI had actual humans talk to it. The AI would generate a few different answers, and a person would rank them, from best to worst. They'd give the AI a reward for the good, helpful answers, and they did this millions and millions of times. So, you know when you ask it something it can't do, and you get that classic, as an AI language model, I cannot response? This is why. That's not the AI having its own morals. That's the result of all that human fine-tuning, training it over and over again to be a helpful and harmless assistant, not just a chaotic mirror of the internet.
All right, so let's pull all three of these acts together. Once you see all the pieces, the giant library, the super autocomplete, and the human training, the magic trick starts to fade. And what you're left with is, well, it's just a stunning piece of engineering. So there it is, the whole recipe in 3 key ingredients. You start with a statistical mirror of all human language. You power it with a predictive engine on an unbelievable scale. And then you season it with thousands of hours of human feedback to make sure it's helpful and safe. So no, it's not thinking, it's not conscious, it's not a ghost in the machine. It is one of the most amazing technologies we've ever built, but when you boil it all down, it's just math. It's a machine calculating the most probable sequence of tokens. And that's what I want to leave you with. Now that you know how the magician does the trick, that it's all just patterns and predictions and probabilities on a mind-boggling scale, does that make it feel less magical? Or does understanding the sheer complexity and scale of the engineering behind it all actually make it even more impressive?